Welcome to the Raw Reality Reset series.
If you've fallen off track, lost momentum, or picked up habits that no longer serve you, this series is for you.
Over the next few episodes, we're diving into the hard truths, mindset shifts, and practical tools to help you reset for the second half of the year, rebuild momentum, and get back to feeling like you.
Because 6 months can change a lot if you decide to start now.
Welcome to the Reset series. We're so excited you are here. We just felt like it was perfect timing for our mini episodes on Thursdays to go live, and it's basically bang on 6 months, which is crazy. We are halfway through the year. So we are going to give you five episodes on how to reset. Yeah. So we've kind of mapped these out into yes, it's across the month of July. So then we're obviously hitting August, but we just felt like, we can all hit this sort of mid-year slump. And so we've mapped out the 5 episodes because there's 5 Thursdays in July. One with a very special guest, which will be episode 2 with Beck Stewart. So very excited for that. But just diving into the things that can help us get out of a slump and just we're all in this together.
Yeah. Especially this time of year, New Year's resolutions are well and truly gone. They're out the window. They've either stuck or they're gone.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a lot can change in 6 months. And you might have a new job, a new partner. You might not be living in your old house that you used to be living at the start of this year. And things can change so fast. So sometimes we almost need to have that reset and realign our goals, our vision, and what we actually want for the rest of the year to look like. So this episode is basically for the people who feel like they've fallen off, adopted some bad habits, maybe you've even just lost some motivation and feel disconnected or behind from your goals. And just because you haven't achieved what you wanted to at the start of the year or life looks really different, does not mean that the next 6 months has to be the same. You can literally 180 your life.
And this could be your entire life. You could be I've fallen off just the whole wagon, or it could be just gym, just nutrition. There could be just one area, maybe it's work, whatever it is that you feel has fallen off, but everything else feels okay. So try and take these next few episodes to where you're at and what you kind of need. I feel it's so hard because I've probably had a child by now, but it's so hard to speak because we're batching on these. But in previous years, I just know we get to that June, July, and it's just firstly, weather change. Yeah. And I know us here in Australia, we're going into winter, so you kind of feel that going inward a little bit, whereas overseas you're going into summer. Huge slay. I'm seeing everyone's summer posts. I'm wow. Personally, so excited for winter. But yeah, I feel the seasonal change can play a massive role in this as well.
Yeah. I've also started to adopt some new habits leading into the middle half of this year, even just the way that I treat my Sundays. And we all know that I'm a highly stressed person. We're working on it. But my Sundays have literally been my safe haven to setting up myself correctly for the week. And I know that sounds so simple. Everyone does that, but your girl was not doing that. And now I treat it almost like a work day in a way where I'm okay, I need to grocery shop, meal prep, plan out my week, know exactly what's happening. And it's so easy to do that when life feels really good or you feel on top of everything. And it's really hard to do that when you're feeling behind. But though that specifically is actually going to help you set up for the rest of your week. So I even want to touch on the things that I do to kind of help me feel like I'm resetting and feeling good. And at the start of the year, I actually set 0 goals. I have 0 goals for the start of this year.
We didn't really finish our vision boards.
No.
We spoke about some goals, but we didn't we usually do the last 4 years. We've sat down and made specific goals. But I think for both of us, potentially after last year, I know for me specifically, all of a sudden I moved to Melbourne. That came out of nowhere. And I think, and I've spoken about this so many times, but last year was just you never know what's around the corner. And sometimes you can't predict it and you have to just go with the flow. And that's another thing, something could have just drastically changed in your life and you're oh, okay, so now I need to pivot. But I think we both went into this year just being well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Which has been kind of nice.
It has been. But sometimes I like to reflect back on my goals and be what did I set for the start of the year and how have they changed? So I do at least write down 5. So next time or this coming year, I'm going to write down some goals because I love to look at how the year changes and evolves because I don't even know now what I expected the start of the year to look like. But all I knew that this year is I wanted to just be calm, but also very, authoritative in knowing what I wanted and just try at everything I did. Just try to do your best and the best results will happen. So I think that's kind of the mindset that I went into this year was it's not I have to do this, but it's if I just put my best in every single thing that I do, the best result's going to come. So I don't know what I anticipated for this year, but
Well, we're
here we
halfway
are.
through.
We're halfway through. Okay, real talk. Do you know what's actually in your cleaning products? Most products you buy in store are loaded with forever chemicals. These chemicals literally never break down. They build up in your body, in your home, and in the waterways. And every time you wash your clothes, spray them around the home, or wash your dishes, you're coating chemicals into things you sleep in, eat off, and your kids touch.
So we've recently switched over to the Lucent Globe detergent sheets, which are completely free from forever chemicals. But not only that, the cleaning results are crazy. They smell so much nicer than chemical-filled products, and they make me feel way better about what I'm using around the house.
And what I love, not only do they actually work, but they also keep innovating. They constantly bring out new amazing scents for your laundry like pineapple coconut, sandalwood vanilla, and even Chanel No. 5. These products are literally game-changing.
Lucent Globe isn't just a brand that has slapped a green label on something. They have a team of scientists working full-time, constantly refining their formulas. So if you're someone who reads the labels on your foods and even your skincare, it makes sense to apply the same standard to all the products you clean your home with.
Head to lucentglobe.com and use code REALITY15 for 15% off your first order.
What did you say? Did you say you wrote down your reset?
Oh, so about
cut you off when you were talking about it.
Okay. Well, there's a few things that I do to reset.
Yeah.
Number one is obviously spend less time on your phone. That's like a big one because you can get such caught and trapped in comparison. Literally my Sunday, and I think I told everyone throughout the week, I was like, I'm not going to be on my phone as much. And I wasn't. Like this whole weekend, I took a lot of photos but didn't upload them until Sunday. I didn't like make a dump or anything on Sunday. I was like, no, just like spend more time off social media and don't feel like you have to catch up and be like, okay, well, this happened. I did it for stories, but that's really easy. But like, the way that I normally would always like make sure I have a post go live on Sunday. And I was like, no, don't even stress about doing that. Secondly, meal prepping and grocery shopping. I never used to meal prep, literally ever. Obviously, I worked from home. But even if you do work from home, it's an easy way to feel like you're staying on top of things and your routine's there. So I always make sure that I try to change my lunches every week to keep it a little bit more like, I guess, versatile and enjoying because I always have the exact same snacks at breakfast. So this week I made Thai chicken curry. I think it's really spicy, so I'm a bit nervous.
Okay.
But that's fine. I like spice. So meal prep, grocery shop, get on top of my laundry because the start of the week to the end of the week, like I can't even explain. My end of the week laundry is disgusting. And this is all so simple, but honestly, you know it makes such a big difference. And then I always try to get outside and do something different. So you can get really stuck in winter with basically just like staying inside your house. And if you work from home, it's nearly even worse and you start to say no to more things. And I'm very much like that. So for example, I will never make the plans. People have to make them for me. And then I will do the plans. Friday night, everyone was like, let's go to Top Golf. It was like Cade and our group. And I was like, fuck's sake. Like, it's at 5:30. I'm still working on Friday at 5:30. But anyways, I did it. I was working in the car. I was nearly like crying because I was stressed. Get there. All stress just disappears. You're fine. You actually did not have to do that work. You could have done it the next day. And so just like saying yes to things that you don't want to say yes to because when you're there, so much better. And then even Saturday night, I did hot girl shower, wash my hair, pajamas, on the couch, going through Uber's Eats, finding what I want to do. Kate's like, Cruz just asked if you want to go to Korean barbecue. And I was like, no. And he was like, it's $50. So we're just going to like spend that on Uber Eats anyways. And I was like, okay, Lily, just get changed. Got changed, feel so much better. So just like say yes to things that you don't want to do in winter and get outside.
And like especially on the Gold Coast, we have some really good winter weather.
We do.
So we're very lucky. But I know in Melbourne, for example, or those colder states, it can be so hard. And apparently even Perth at the moment is
Perth is cold right now, yeah.
So it can be really, really hard, but don't feel like you have to hermit crab.
Yeah.
If you want to, great, perfect, fine.
I want to.
Yeah. But sometimes you have to like force yourself to not. And you could kind of reflect back on your year and go, on the first half of the year and go, I was so motivated at the start of the year. Like how are we in June, July? Like literally how are we in July?
It's crazy.
And kind of not know where you went off track or where these things kind of dwindled because it can just happen over time. So I think the biggest part in I guess this first episode or step number 1 is like reflection.
Yeah.
Reflect on the first half of the year. We do still have up on our website our Notion template from the beginning of the year. So I feel like we've done it 2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
But it's like you can even still use that if you've either bought it or you can go and purchase it. There's a lot of like reflection journal prompts and kind of use that as like your reset. But a lot of reflection on going, okay, how did the first half of the year look? Where am I at now? What is different? What do I want to look different? And also reset your goals. And because like we said, last year, there was a lot of resetting the goals because I had all my goals set and then second week of Feb, first week of Feb, I was like, so yeah, I'm going to Melbourne. And I sat with myself and like reset all my goals. And then came home, had all these goals set, and then I felt pregnant. So then we reset all the goals.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do that. You don't need to be married to your goals and then be disappointed when you don't achieve them, even though you went completely down a different path. So reflection is a huge one on just like the first half of the year.
I do reflection in a slightly different way is I've really tried to reflect on my past week because my word this year was presence. And I really struggle with being present. I always look at the future and what I need to do in the future, even the next day or the next hour. I really struggle on being there, then and there. So at the end of every week, I even just like ask myself what's two good things that's happened and what's one thing that I didn't do as well. Literally, I won't write it down. It's just in my head. And I tend to ask Cade when we're on a walk as well so I can hear his true sense. But it was this week, I was like, hey, what's two things that you really enjoyed and what's two things that I enjoyed? I think it was... the one thing that I said I really liked, I was like, I sat on my wrong side and I liked the photos. And guys, I don't think you understand how much of that a win that is.
It is a huge
I don't think
win.
that's ever happened before. And I said, number two, I felt a lot more in control of my emotions this week. So those were two really good things. And then that just allows you to be like, okay, what actually went well? Because sometimes we can get to the end of a week or even now 6 months in, you're like, oh my God, I haven't achieved anything. Reflect on what you have done and have achieved because you'll actually be really, really surprised. And especially if you are a business owner or you're just very competitive, you always find something you can do better. So actually look back on something that you've done well and be proud of what you have.
Even I did that like during pregnancy where I was like, I feel like I've just been sick and done nothing the whole time. And then I'm like, hey, you actually kept up with business. You opened a new business, built a whole warehouse. Like you just have to sometimes, and obviously like they're huge things. It's like, how do you dismiss that? But when you're so far sometimes in the trenches, it is really easy to just go, I've done nothing.
Yeah.
And I really got into that. And it wasn't until like a couple of like community people DM'd me being like, hey, like, look what you've done during pregnancy. It's like not a lot of people do that not being pregnant. I was like, yeah, look, you're so right. And I really just took that and I was like, wow, like I'm so proud of myself. So sometimes you have to also allow yourself to, sometimes it can feel icky when you're like, I'm so proud I did this thing, big or small, but you have to like stop and celebrate those wins.
Absolutely.
To then keep moving forward.
So we have a few steps here. Your
Yes.
mid-year reset formula. Step 1, audit your life. Ask yourself what's helping me, what's holding me back, what feels aligned, and what feels draining. Having those like 4 questions written down and even journaling on them or just sitting there thinking about it is actually going to help align your goals for the rest of the year because you may have set goals that you're like, that doesn't really align or that's actually holding me back from this goal. And it really helps you just get clear on what you need to do for the next 6 months.
Yeah. And do you remember in school when you used to have your big A3 piece of paper and you had your middle thing and then you would draw off like lines? So I would do like have those questions Lil just said and then have your categories of like health, fitness, wellness, career, relationships, whatever else that you want to add, and answer those questions for each and every category because then it allows you to break it down, not just like an overall picture because I think a lot of us can just go, oh, yeah, like wasn't feeling aligned here, like change that. But it's like, all right, let's look at every individual bucket. And there could be like all your values of, you know, where you value your life and all the things that you're doing. And like get curious with yourself and don't just like skim past it. Like sit there, be present, go to a park, sit in the sun and do it. Do it in the sauna, like whatever it is. You can do it on Canva if you're a Canva girly, but like I feel like writing it out is
I think it's really
different.
beneficial as well to do that way in having the split categories because we know that we can't put 100% into every area.
Yeah.
So maybe you put 100% into your health the start of this year or like let's say 80% and then 20% only went to your career or vice versa. And it's like, okay, where do I want to do the end of the year? Maybe I want to put some more effort into my family. Okay, if I put more effort into my family, it means that I have to, I don't know, I'm just making this up, leave work at, 4 p.m. on a Friday to go visit my family. Okay, career may take a step back, but you can't do 100% at everything. And this next question is like, where have I stopped showing up for myself? And I think personally for me this year is like having fun. So I'm like, okay, I've stopped showing up for myself in allowing myself to have fun because if I'm having fun or doing things that I enjoy, then I'm not focusing on my career and I'm not serious about that and people won't take me seriously. But it's like, that's not the reality of life, right? I've made that up. So this next half of the year, I'm like, okay, on the weekends, I want to do something fun that I want to do. And it's not going to the gym. It's not completing work tasks and it's not podcasting, whatever it's going to do because I think I can get sometimes so encapsulated in like my job because I love it so much and love the podcast that it does feel like fun, but sometimes you need to step outside of that and grow in different areas. And for me, business feels like comfortable in something. I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I can have control over that. But when I'm doing these other things, I feel like I lose an aspect of that control. So almost like think about where you've stopped showing up this year, and it could literally be maybe your sleep hygiene or your friendships, your relationships, because there's always going to be something that takes a step back for other things to take a step forward. And now it's like, okay, for the next 6 months, where do I need to balance this out?
Can't really give you my answer because it is just really hard because you just go with the season that you're currently in when you're going through pregnancy, and so especially something like you've never experienced before. Like you do just have to surrender, and it's actually a wild. Like I feel like a lot of the episodes we've been recording, I've actually struggled to answer a lot of questions and reflect because it's like such an unknown season. So we're just doing what we need to do basically.
Yes.
But step number 2 is pick 3 non-negotiables, not 27.
Yeah.
So like we just spoke about those buckets. So you have whatever 5, 6, 3 buckets that you have. Then we want to try and narrow it down to like, I guess, your top 3 priorities. And this could be your 3 buckets. This could be health, fitness, and career.
Yeah.
Or you could take it as even like take those 3 buckets and then go, what are my 3 non-negotiables for those areas? There's like so many ways you can take this and like mold it into however it is that you want to do. For me personally, I feel like when you're in this season, you don't want to overwhelm yourself because that's when you start and then you're overwhelmed and then you're like, well, I'm back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So try and make it as simple as possible and then we can build on that.
Yeah, exactly like Tori says, don't pick like a million non-negotiables because we're going to touch on a little bit of a later reset episode, but you don't want to go into that all or nothing mindset when it does come to resetting because that's when it's almost like the New Year's resolutions and you go full steam ahead and then you just give up because it's so overwhelming and so hard. So if I had to pick 3 non-negotiables for the rest of the year, I feel like I need to journal on this or think about it deeper.
Same.
But it would definitely be something to do with business and relationship. I think those 2 are like really key for me right now, especially running a business with my partner. The relationship can be forgotten about. We've been doing really well at it, but those 2 are really important. And then number
Social
3,
life?
I would say social life, but I reckon mental health.
Yeah,
I think
fair.
those 3. I think career always takes like a very big one. I think social life, I have a really good friends and yes, I need to have fun, but like that's not my top 3. Which contradicts what I just said.
like 2 minutes ago.
So I think I need a journal on that one.
Yeah, me too. I feel like mine is very much going into like just health and bub, obviously, and family.
Yeah.
Then mine, I feel like fitness is going to come back into it, which I'm so excited about. Can't even explain. So
Dude, I can't even imagine you after your first workout. You're like, I know you'll ease back into it, but you won't be able to like, I feel like your legs might be fine because you've obviously been carrying bub for so long. So like even just simply like squatting and picking up, you're using those muscles. But I think the first like shoulder day, game over. Or back
It'll
day.
be so interesting.
You'll be so sore.
Yeah. Abs.
Oh my God.
They've been non-existent for 10 months. So I'd probably say, health, fitness, or nutrition, fitness, and then family.
Yes.
Would be my top 3 going into the second half of the year. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Number 3 is stop waiting to feel motivated again. Just because we've entered this mid-year and you're listening to this reset series doesn't mean that you're going to feel motivated. Like you need to stop waiting for that and just actually reset your life and be like, okay, well, I don't really want to do this, but sometimes you just have to do things you don't want to do. Now, I am also going to contradict this slightly because sometimes motivation can be looked at in a bad way or a negative light. If you have motivation now, use it like to your advantage. If you want to go full steam ahead, then do so. Don't be stupid with it. Then you have to rely on discipline after.
Yeah.
But use it while you've got it.
It's like, if you have to clean the house on a Sunday or a Friday, you really didn't want to, but then all of a sudden you have this urge to just clean, like use that motivation. Yeah. Or if you didn't want to go to the gym and then, all of a sudden you have this, like use that, but you can't rely on that 24/7.
Exactly. So use the motivation to start small and build back up again, but then making sure that those habits are in place. So that's why it's important not to overwhelm yourself, because if you use all of this motivation at the start, you set yourself 50 goals, as soon as motivation disappears, your discipline has to take over. Now, discipline isn't going to take you to achieving 50 goals. It's going to take you to doing those 3 non-negotiables day in, day out. So that's where those two need to be able to align. So action creates energy as well. So when you actually are doing all of these things, you're going to get more excited. Humans are motivated by progress. The more you do something, the easier it is to kind of sustain.
Because a lot of us think, energy is going to bring the action. It's like when I have the energy or when I feel motivated, that's when the action happens.
Yeah.
No, it's actually the opposite. Yeah. When you do the thing and you create that consistency, that's when the energy comes into it.
It does.
Okay, final step is let go of guilt.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, we can't just completely change our life in the flick of our fingers, and we can't just overhaul everything and it's all of a sudden perfect again. It's going to take time, and you could be kind of, in a sense, like your whole life feels like it's fallen apart and everything's fallen off the bandwagon, or it could just be your nutrition has gone off track. So take this where you will, but you can't shame yourself into change. You can't shame yourself into doing the things you don't want to do. You have to be wanting to do those things, even if the motivation isn't there. Like we just said, rely on discipline and taking action, but you can't go, well, my life's shit, I'm not successful, so now I need to change all of this, because you will last a week. Yeah. It has to come from you wanting to see a difference and also knowing what you want out of it.
Also, let go of thinking that you can't be a certain person, right? Because sometimes we look at socials or we look at people who are inspiring to us and we're like, oh, well, I can never be that person. But it's like you absolutely can be. Just look at their habits and look at your goals and see if they align. Start putting them in play now. Just because you believe that you can't be someone, if you believe you can't be someone, you'll never be that person. And that's almost like you're shaming yourself, you're disappointed in yourself, and you'll never get there. So start putting everything in play now. And then by the end of the year, you can be that person you've always wanted to be. Doesn't mean that you have to start next year, because I know that some of you are already thinking, oh, well, next year I'll do this. Next year I'll start that new job. It's easier to finish it off this year because I have annual leave for Christmas. Cool. Like we still have 6 months left. Don't feel guilty for stopping, for doing things that don't serve you anymore.
I feel like I'm going into a whole new year because obviously I'm with child.
Yeah.
And it's I have a whole 6 months of this year left with a child, and the first half was not with, it just feels so wild.
It is so bizarre.
But with all of this, you can't punish yourself into any of it. It has to come from you in wanting to do it. It can't come from your mum saying you're being a piece of slob and, your dad saying you've lost motivation for the gym or whatever it is. Has to come from you, otherwise it's not sustainable.
Yeah, that's when they say go into that all or nothing mindset approach again, or when you kind of feel okay, well, I have to look like this person, so I'm gonna go full steam ahead now. Well, that's not motivation for being a better person. It's for trying to be someone else, and that's not what's going to be sustainable. I used to do that all the time when I was younger. I don't know what age it must have been, but I still think I was at school and I was very much influenced by others, and I was okay, they're their notes are really organized. I'm going to start doing that. So I did that, but then I really struggled to retain information. I was so much slower because I was so focusing on writing notes like this person, or then I wanted to learn like that person, and that's never sustainable. You have to be you, but the best version of you.
I used to do that with this girl's handwriting.
I used to do it all the time.
Rip my pages out of my book because my handwriting didn't look like hers.
The amount I changed mine. One day I was cursive, the next day I was blocked, the next day I was capital letters.
Jackson says all the time, he's you change your handwriting all the time.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, coming to the close of the end of episode 1 of the Reset series, but just know that you haven't ruined your year.
Yeah.
You're not completely behind. You're right on track of where you need to be, and your path is there. You just need to now reflect and kind of get back on track in the sense of reset, look at those goals again and just jump back on the path.
Don't look at oh my gosh, I only have 6 months left of this year. Look at it, oh my gosh, I only have 6 months left of this year.
It's a long time. You can do a lot.
Such a big difference, right? So perspective is absolutely everything. And when you switch it into more of a positive one, your whole life's going to be better.
Yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed episode 1.
Yeah.
Next week on the Reset, you'll hear from Beck Stewart, and she recently went through quite a big slump, and not just a couple of weeks. It was a good 6-month slump with multiple different things happening, and she really talks us through that and how she got herself out of it. So you guys will love that episode because she's the best. But if you loved it, please leave a review, follow us on Spotify, but also send it to a friend that needs to hear this. Sister, brother, whoever needs to get back on that bandwagon and put themselves first, send it to them. But otherwise we'll be in your ears on Monday. Bye.